HÜRJET Presentation Speech. 13 minutes introduction. A nation's voice in the sky lies within the wings it builds with its own hands. Distinguished guests, honored visitors, and everyone who wonders about the future of Turkish aviation, welcome. Today, we are not merely introducing an aircraft. Today, we present to you the tangible product of a profound transformation in Turkey's defense industry, a determined step on the road to independence, and the fruit of decades of accumulated engineering excellence. Its name, HÜRJET, designed and manufactured by Turkish Aerospace Industries, TAI. HÜRJET is Turkey's first indigenous and national jet trainer aircraft. For those who wish to hear this again, a jet-powered trainer aircraft designed by Turkey's own engineers on its own soil, with its own technology. Why does this matter so deeply? Because only a handful of nations in the world possess the capacity to produce indigenous aircraft in this category. The United States, Russia, the United Kingdom, Italy, China, and now, Turkey has joined this distinguished company. So how did the story of HÜRJET begin? Behind every great project lies a powerful need. For years, the Turkish Air Force depended on foreign-built trainer aircraft. Spare parts procurement, maintenance costs, technology transfer restrictions, all of these challenges made a domestic solution not just desirable, but inevitable. HÜRJET was born precisely out of this necessity, to break dependency, to train Turkish pilots in Turkish aircraft, and to place full control of this technology in the hands of national will. Right? Development. Technical identity. HÜRJET by the numbers. The best way to understand HÜRJET is first to see it through its numbers. This powerful and elegant aircraft has a maximum takeoff weight of approximately 6,500 kilograms. Its wingspan exceeds 10 meters. Its length surpasses 12 meters. Yet these geometric figures alone cannot convey the true scale of what HÜRJET represents. For its power source, HÜRJET uses a derivative of the General Electric F404 jet engine, a combat-proven, reliable, and extraordinarily capable platform. Its maximum speed approaches Mach 0.95, meaning it comes within a breath of the speed of sound. Its practical service ceiling exceeds 12,000 meters. The maximum G-force tolerance is rated at plus 7G/minus 3G, fully meeting all the demands of real-world combat flight training. Inside the HÜRJET cockpit, 2 people are seated, the student pilot and the instructor. The seats are arranged in tandem configuration, one in front, one behind. The cockpit is equipped with a modern head-up display, advanced avionics, and indigenous software systems. Every piece of data during flight is transmitted to the instructor in real time. The development process, indigenous content and engineering power. The HÜRJET project is one of the most comprehensive engineering endeavors ever undertaken within TAI. More than 500 Turkish engineers and technicians participated in the project. This number represents not just a project team, but the accumulated aeronautical knowledge of generations. A critical dimension of the project is its rate of indigenous content. The vast majority of systems used in HÜRJET are produced within Turkey, spanning avionics to structural components, software to materials technology. Throughout this process, Turkey's leading defense industry organizations worked side by side: Aselsan, Roketsan, TEI, and Havelsan, among others. The aircraft's fuselage is constructed using modern composite materials. Carbon fiber reinforced polymer structures were used to achieve the perfect balance between lightness and durability. As a result, HÜRJET meets world standards in both fuel efficiency and structural integrity. First flight, a historic moment. Every great project has its first day. For HÜRJET, that day was September 29th, 2023. In a first flight conducted over the skies of Ankara, the test pilot successfully airborne HÜRJET. In that moment, for the engineers who had dedicated years of their lives inside TAI's hangars, it was an indescribable experience. Tears in eyes, applause from hands, a surge of pride in hearts. These were not merely signs that an aircraft had taken flight, but that a nation's dream had become reality. Since that date, HÜRJET has entered an extensive testing and certification program. It was tested in every weather condition, at every altitude, across every maneuver profile. From structural tests to avionics integration, from engine performance to weapons systems, integration infrastructure, every system was validated step by step. Training philosophy. How does it shape a pilot? HÜRJET is not simply an aircraft. It is a comprehensive training system. Training a modern combat pilot is an extraordinarily lengthy, expensive, and high-risk process. In Turkey, this process has traditionally followed a set progression. First, basic flight training on piston engine aircraft, then intermediate training on turboprop platforms, and finally, the transition to a combat aircraft. HÜRJET is precisely the bridge across that final gap. A pilot who completes intermediate training can use HÜRJET to learn the dynamics of a jet engine, high-speed maneuvering, and modern cockpit systems. The transition to frontline aircraft such as the F-16 or Con thus becomes faster, safer, and far more cost-effective. The cost of training each pilot is substantially reduced through HÜRJET. License fees paid to foreign manufacturers, spare parts costs, and technology restrictions are all eliminated. Turkey gains the freedom to train its own pilots, in its own aircraft, with its own technology, on its own terms. Mach export potential. Wings. Opening to the world. HÜRJET has been designed not only for the Turkish Air Force, but for the global market. Many countries around the world must procure jet trainer aircraft from abroad. That demand is vast. Competition is fierce. Yet HÜRJET holds significant advantages. Its price-to-performance ratio, its modern avionics infrastructure, Turkey's diplomatic networks, and its defense cooperation agreements position HÜRJET to appeal to markets across the Middle East, Africa, South Asia, and even South America. As of now, several countries have formally expressed interest in HÜRJET. This interest carries both political and economic value for Turkey. Every aircraft exported carries Turkey's defense industry reputation one step further across the world stage. Conclusion. Distinguished listeners, everything shared so far has covered HÜRJET's technical identity, its development journey, its training philosophy, and its export potential. But now, I want to give you the true meaning of this project. HÜRJET is not simply an aircraft. HÜRJET is a symbol of a shift in mindset. It is the living proof that the old attitude, we cannot do this, we need this, but we must obtain it from abroad, has been replaced by a confident, sovereign conviction. We can build this. We can produce this. We can export this. HÜRJET is the product of an entire generation's labor and dreams. It belongs to the engineers who spent their nights in laboratories, the technicians who ran tests in wind tunnels, the mathematicians who ran the numbers, the designers who sketched their visions into existence. HÜRJET is a chapter in Turkey's strategic independence. Dependency in defense is not merely an economic burden. It is a matter of sovereignty. When spare parts stop arriving in a moment of crisis, when technology transfer is forbidden, when an embargo waits at the door, that is when we understand that true power lies in the technology we build with our own hands. And HÜRJET proclaims that truth across the open sky. Today in this room, you hear a name, HÜRJET. Tomorrow you will continue to hear that name at international air shows, on global defense procurement platforms, and at air bases of partner nations around the world. Because Turkey is no longer merely a nation that buys. Turkey is a nation that builds and sells. With Khan, we assert dominance in the sky. With Bayraktar, we enter the global agenda. With HÜRJET, we speak to the next generation of pilots in our own voice, nor with our own strength, on our own terms. Ladies and gentlemen, the finest way to close a speech is with a sentence that makes the audience feel what has been said. That sentence is this: the wings of HÜRJET are made from the will of a nation, and that will shall never touch the ground. Thank you.